Hello, and welcome to the third and final lesson for this week. I know 3 lessons, 3 worksheets, kind of a grind, but bear with us. We're almost to the end here. So we're going to start this lesson talking about another three-dimensional solid. So far we've covered cylinders, how to find surface area and volume using the formulas, and then cones, how to find surface area and volume using the formulas for cones. The last thing we're going to talk about this week then is a different three-dimensional solid called a sphere. Now, most of you know what a sphere is. You've seen them before. All it is basically a ball. So it's just a three-dimensional circle, essentially. So when we talk about spheres, again, we're just going to focus on the two aspects of how do I find the area around the outside of the sphere, and how do I find the volume of the inside, just like we've done with cylinders and cones. Now, for spheres, we're just going to kind of attack both right away. So you got your two formulas right here. So again, T stands for total surface area, and that formula is 4 times pi times r squared. Again, r is going to stand for the radius. So within the picture, you should be able to find the radius of the circle. So sometimes they give you the radius like we see here. If they give you the distance all the way across, all you do is cut it in half. And just like before, once I know what the formula is, all I need to do is take the information from the picture, plug it directly in. So if I'm looking at total surface area for this sphere, I'm going to take 4 times pi times my radius, which is 24, and then squared. And so once I have everything plugged into the formula correctly, I can go ahead and take that and plug it into my calculator. Now, when I do this again, we're going to use 3.14 for pi. So I type it in exactly like I see it. 4 times 3.14 times 24 squared. And then when I hit enter, I see that I get a surface area of 7,234.6. And then since this is area, I'm using square units, so inches squared. Now, one thing to note with spheres, the surface areas and volumes can sometimes get very big very quickly. So if you get really large numbers, it's okay. These are going to be quite a bit bigger in terms of area around the outside and volume on the inside. So don't freak out if you get some big numbers when you're working with your sphere problems. So that surface area, just use the formula, plug in radius, plug in the calculator, and go from there. Now, volume. With volume, so here we have our V. We have the formula 4/3 times pi times radius cubed. It's important to note the change here. So instead of 4 pi r squared, we're using 4/3 pi times radius cubed. Now, if you know how to type cubed into your calculator, that's great. Go ahead and use that as you work through these problems. If you don't, I'm going to show you a second method to do that where you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to do that in your calculator. So for those of you that know how to do it with a problem like this, it's just like any of the other problems we've done so far this week. We start with our formula and just plug in the information we need. So radius is 24, and then we're going to cube that. So if I'm looking at this, I go ahead and just plug this into my calculator. And again, with the fraction there, you can just type that in as divide. So I'm going to type it from left to right. 4 divided by 3 times 3.14 times 24 to the third. So if you know how to do to the third in your calculator, that's what you're going to want to do. And so then we go ahead and hit enter. And again, you're going to get some large numbers when working with these surface area and volumes. So in this case, we get a volume of 57,876.5. And then we're talking volume now, so that's going to be inches cubed. So that's what my volume is going to look like for this particular sphere. Now, for those of you that don't know how to do cubed, so if you don't know how to do 24 to the third power in your calculator, the other thing you can do here is if you think about exponents, 24 to the third just means 24 times itself 3 times. So instead of doing 24 to the third, I can do this: 4/3 times pi times 24 times 24 times 24. So I'm just going to multiply it by itself 3 times. And then again, you can plug that straight into your calculator. 4 divided by 3 times 3.14 times 24 times 24 times 24. If you're using this method, just be really careful that you're typing in the correct number of 24s. Okay, so leaving out one or adding in an extra is going to drastically change your results. So whichever way you work it out, you should end up with the same answer either way. So doing this, we still get our 57,876.5, and then inches cubed. Okay. And as far as spheres go, that's it. Once you know what the two formulas are, you plug in the radius. So whatever value from the picture tells you what the radius is, you plug it in, go into your calculator, and then you go ahead and plug it in and get your answer. Okay. So again, this is all the information you need. You should be able to attack the spheres worksheet for the week. Again, if you're working on that and you have some questions or you're running into any issues, try to contact your teacher, email, go to Zoom, whatever you need to do to get those questions answered. But at this point, you should have everything you need to finish up this last assignment for the week. So go ahead and enjoy.